Hey, it's Sam again with Ministries, and last week I talked to you guys about why I'm a follower of Jesus Christ as a part of my testimony, and this week I wanted to share about when I got the calling to become a pastor, and I'm going to tell you about that right now. For those of you who don't know, I work as a police officer during the day, and I'm humbled and honored to be able to work in a position that has so much importance in our community. When I first got my calling, I was actually on duty, sitting behind a church in the middle of pretty much in the way back of the parking lot. I had 15 minutes left and I was just catching up on some paperwork, and I was on the phone with my wife, and I was starving because it had been so busy that day. It was non-stop, and I was on the phone with my wife, and she was telling me about the dinner that she made. I don't even remember what it was. It was like chicken or something, but it sounded so good because I haven't eaten in so long. I was like, oh, I can't wait to come home. I'm going to go home and I'm going to crush some food. As soon as I said all that, I see this car pulling up into the parking lot of the church, and I'm way in the back, so they couldn't possibly see me. And I'm parked way back there, and I see this car turn into the parking lot and then make a turn towards one of the lanes towards my direction. I was like, you know what, this person's just going to park in front of the church, they're going to go inside, whatever. The car was driving a little fast and a little erratic for a parking lot, so I was like, oh man, I hope they don't come to me. I only got 15 minutes left, I want to go home and eat. And it ends up making a couple more turns, and it comes all the way to the back of the church where I'm at. And I'm like, oh man, this car's coming right at me. I'm not going to get to go home today. The car literally, as I'm parked here, it pulls up right in front of me like this. I'm like, okay, obviously they're either trying to get my attention or something. So I get out of my car and I'm like, what is going on? And this little old lady comes out of the car crying her eyes out. I asked her what's going on, and she's saying that her son is in the car and he's just being really mean to her. And then as soon as she said that, this kid comes out of the car cussing and screaming. I mean, he said every cuss word that I know and more. He taught me some new cuss words also. He was so angry, so upset, that he was yelling and cussing at her and just making her feel like crap. Long story short, he ended up having a warrant for his arrest. So I ended up arresting this guy, putting him in handcuffs, putting him in the back of my car, and then so when I asked the lady why she stopped where I was, or how did she even find me, she said that God led her to me. She said that she was praying the entire time, and she said that God answered her and said, there is a pastor, not inside the church, but behind the church. And that just blew my mind, because I've been trying to fight, God's calling for a long time. God made it clear to me that to be a pastor doesn't necessarily mean you have to be inside of a church. To shepherd the flock, you don't have to be inside the walls of a church. It kind of put things in perspective for me, because I was in the middle of Kaleo School of Biblical Leadership, and I was looking to pursue my master's in Christian ministry, and it was a way of God to tell me that it's time for you to start doing what I've been teaching you. And that's a huge part of my ministry now, is that I want to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. Jesus spoke in a parable about the lost sheep, that, I get the ability, I get to be a part of God's ministry, and where I'm not a part of the four walls of the church, I'm not pastoring inside the church, but I get to go find the lost sheep and bring them to Him. Another part of that story is when I ended up taking him to jail, her son. I ended up taking him to jail, and on the way to jail, he was just confessing all these sins in his life. And the amazing part was, we started to pray about it. He asked if I could pray with him and pray for him. I started to pray with him, and he rededicated his life to Jesus. And the amazing part was, something happened. Something amazing happened. He let out this weird sound, and I swear it was like a demon leaving his body. It was the most crazy thing I've ever heard come from a human's mouth. What I felt was evil leaving that car, and the presence of God. I felt the warmth and the comfort of God inside that patrol car as I'm driving him to jail. And as I took him out of the back of the car and into the jail cell, we had this conversation, and the look on his face, it looked like he was at peace. He looked like he was relieved of the demons that were attached to him. We all come to those crossroads where we have to make a decision. Do we choose to follow Jesus? Do we choose to do as he tells us to do? Or do we do our own thing? And so that is my calling to become a pastor. If you like what you see, click like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment what you guys want to talk about. Remember, until next time, just be the salt and the light of the world that needs you. And remember and know that Jesus loves you. God bless you.